Fantasy Island won't be seen tonight, so we can bring you a very special episode of The Gen X Files. Welcome to The Gen X Files. I'm Jim.
I'm Adam.
And today is another
For the Stepdads.
Oh, you lovey-dovey stepdads are here to talk about their first loves.
Yeah, it's been a great month. I so much more enjoyed the $6 Million Man than I thought I would.
And me with Quantum Leap.
Yeah.
It's funny because even though this is the shortest month of the year,
Yeah.
even though we get an extra day because it's a leap
It
year.
is.
Happy birthday to all you leap babies.
Yeah.
Because I started watching the $6 Million Man, well, I feel like this month has been like
I know.
6 months.
I know.
But it's funny because, you know, when we do a TV show or something, usually we'll watch a few episodes or we know
Yeah.
of it or whatever.
Yeah.
But this is the first time that we've handled two shows in the same month where I just got sucked in.
Yeah. Same. I mean, there's still a lot of $6 Million Man I need to watch.
Yeah. Well, I'm on the last season.
Oh, yeah? That's good. And there's definitely Quantum Leap I need to rewatch.
Yeah.
Although I ended up watching most of the fifth season for some reason.
Yes. And a lot, because I wasn't a big, just like you weren't a big Bionic Man
Yeah.
as a boy.
Well, it was a little before my time.
I wasn't a leaper.
Yeah. It was a little after your time.
Yeah. I mean, I was like, that was in the time in my, early 20s. And when you have to hate everything.
Yeah.
At that age because you haven't accomplished anything.
Yeah.
So you think everything's easy and you're like, oh, everything's stupid because it's so easy and dumb. But then when you start doing things, you realize how absolutely difficult it is.
Oh, yeah.
You find a newfound respect for the process and for things.
I had a tendency in college. There's a time period between like 96 and 2000 when I was in college that I almost watched no TV at all. Oh, wow. Like I was doing other things, like I had other stuff going on. I would still watch The Simpsons.
Yeah.
But like new shows and stuff, I was like, I got more important things to do.
Yeah,
and,
that's college.
Yeah.
I mean, we watched, we had I ended up bringing a TV, I think the second semester or something. But the first semester we had the guys at the end of the hall that had the TV, and so we would always go there to watch Magnum.
Nice.
But they had the awesome combination of the stinkiest feet, and they were also dippers.
Oh God!
So they're always like half full solo cups filled with chewing tobacco spit.
You accidentally drank some, didn't you?
Did I? I might have. I don't know.
But you definitely saw somebody accidentally drink some.
100%. I saw my roommate drink my pee.
Oh.
Anywho's.
Yeah.
So, I didn't watch a lot of TV, I guess is what I was saying.
Jim's first love was peeing in cups and then having his
2-liter
roommate
bottles.
drink them.
I did not enjoy that. And I felt horrible.
2-liter bottle? Okay. All right.
You didn't fill it.
I don't. Wow. I mean, I could.
Okay. Well, let's start that tradition here.
Anyway.
Now. Yeah, and Stephen King, too. I pulled out the old Bachman books from the library.
Nice.
Our library.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do a reread on those, I think.
They're so good. I read them now. I'm probably reading them about every 2 years, but like I used to do it where I'd read every year, at least a year, every year.
Yeah, I haven't.
They're
read
so
them
good, man.
in decades. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, I need to. I'm actually jumping back into. I think it's Full Dark No Stars. I think the one with the cat on the front.
Yeah.
It's like
Let It Bleed. If it
Let It
bleeds.
Bleed. If It Bleeds, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Sorry, If It Bleeds. Although I don't think I read Full Dark No Stars either.
It's a good one.
But yeah, I'm starting to get back into reading Stephen King again. I need to catch up. I'm about 5 books behind.
And there's some good ones too, man.
I know,
really good.
I know. Well, I'm really excited about the Billy Miller or Billy Wilder or whatever, the one about the
Billy Summers,
the one about the hitman or whatever.
Yeah, that's a great one too.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's an interesting, like it's something I wasn't expecting him to do.
The last few books have been very different. With Billy Summers, I don't think there's any real mysticism in it or
no
horror.
real. Yeah,
there's like, oh hey, there's the Shining Hotel.
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah,
in it.
yeah.
But it just kind of ancillary. But just as like, hey.
But nothing like supernatural happens.
No.
during it.
I don't think so. I don't remember.
Which is interesting. I like. I like Stephen King when he does that stuff because it really shows how good of a writer he is.
Yeah, and then the Institute, which was really interesting.
I really like the Institute. I thought that was done really well.
In a different kind of book, kind of going back to the Firestarter type of deal, of like kids being
government kidnapping children.
Yeah, like they do. And it was really good.
I liked it. I thought it was weird that they introduced the older adult main character, and then he didn't talk about him for like 400 pages. Right. it was like no, and then it's all kids all the time.
Yeah,
and then, which is fine, but it was just funny because it was like they dedicated so much. Or actually, Stephen King dedicated so much time to that character at the beginning, and then it was just nothing for a long time.
Well, there was a lot to go through with the kids.
No, totally.
Sleeping Beauties, what he did with his son, which was really interesting. I know that you couldn't get through.
I'm going to try it again. I need to.
I think, it's one of those that you kind of get through the first 30, 40 pages.
Yeah.
It's a slow burn.
Yeah, got to get into the concept, and then I think I'll be fine.
And then Fairy Tale from the year before last, which, again, was a completely different take. It's basically a guy trying to save a dog.
Nice.
But it turns into this amazing, fairy tale based adventure. It kind of reminded me a little bit of like The Talisman. Or,
nice.
The more kind of like not mystical, but the more like fantastical,
fairy tale. Yeah.
And then Holly, which I thoroughly enjoyed. It was it's a kind of a serial killer book with his favorite new character, Holly Gibney.
Yeah, and those are really good. I really liked the Mr. Mercedes series with Finders Keepers, and then the second one that I don't remember.
Losers Weepers.
No, Finders Keepers was the second one. I don't remember the third title.
There's Mr. Mercedes, Finders Keepers, and
End of Watch.
End of Watch.
Aha! I did remember.
You did.
Which also had it was funny because the first two books are very much not any kind of supernatural based, and then the third one kind of goes down a weird rabbit hole.
There's a little bit in the first one.
Yeah. There's some stuff that's hinted at.
Yeah.
But it goes really deep. But anyway, and also the show is really good, which I still haven't watched the second or third season of.
Right.
But
I don't know if I think I watched the second.
Yeah. But they're really good. Brendan Gleeson's great in the part. And
an outsider too.
And the outsider.
Another Holly Gibney. Right. She was just in it. It wasn't really her.
She's kind of featured, yeah.
Little guest star.
She had to come solve some problems.
But his last few books have been very different. They're not his typical, horror.
Yeah. I don't know. It seems like he's kind of relegating the horror stuff more to the short stories rather than the longer ones now, or the novellas. Which, whatever. I mean, as long as he keeps writing, I don't care.
Yes, and he just, I don't know if people saw, but recently he was tweeting about how, Zazzy's up to it again. He may shelve Salem's Lot, the new take on Salem's Lot, which Stephen King has actually seen and said is a good movie.
Literally for 2 years been going like, why? Why are you not releasing this? It's really good.
I apologize to all of you for my voice. I've been battling a cough for the last couple of weeks, so if I sound weird,
Jim is slowly dying of pneumonia.
Yeah, we'll see. let's speed it up.
When he's sleeping, I pour water down his throat and it gets in his lungs.
Waterboarding.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, this month was just pure joy. It was just fun, and like I said during the Bionic Man show, I haven't seen that show since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
So watching it again as an adult was really fun.
It really says something because I had never seen it. I'd heard of it, obviously, and I knew what it was. And I was around when they were doing the last 3 TV movies. So I knew what they were. But, the last 3 TV movies, it was really about them getting back together. Sure. And I was never interested in that as a kid. I was like, whatever.
It's not, exactly. That's not where you want to jump in.
But watching it, the show really holds up.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised how well it holds up.
Yeah, and it's a great time capsule of the 70s. It's really funny because there are certain episodes rewatching that I 100% total recall as a child. There was the Lumberjack episode.
Yeah.
Lumberjacking was pretty popular in the 70s. And one thing that was really popular in the 70s was log rolling. Where people, stand on a log and they
competitions,
roll it and try to knock the other person off. But I totally remembered the Steve Austin on the log using his bionics to show up the jerk. And he did. But there were certain episodes, And it's funny. It's like you would think it would be the Bigfoot episodes instead of the bigger episodes. Right. Some of that, yes. Like I do remember him ripping Bigfoot's arm off.
Yes.
Like totally stuck in my mind as a kid, and it was stuck there forever. But it was just funny that it was just these weird little kind of throwaway episodes that completely
made the most indelible marks on your brain.
Apparently, or was able to push through the brain fog and early onset dementia that I seem to be going through.
Yeah. Oh, I did just read a great article about how kids from the 60s, 70s, and early 80s are all essentially going to go into dementia early because of the massive amount of lead paint that was around all the time.
Right.
And lead in the cars, and lead was everywhere.
And lead in our toys that we put in our mouths.
And in true Gen X fashion, posted that article in the Gen X subreddit, and no one gave an S.
Sure. I mean, we're all just relegated to our fates.
It's like, okay, yeah, what else? One guy talked about how him and his friends, his dad had a vial of mercury, and they would just put it into a pan and roll it around. And he's like, pretty sure it got on my fingers. Pretty sure they never cleaned the pans properly afterwards. Exactly. It's like, what? All right. I'm surprised that we're not all dead at 30.
No, I mean, I think that's part of the reason why we're so resilient is because we were exposed to so many...
so much dirt and crap.
And lead and chemicals. And it was really fun to rewatch those shows, and I'm juiced to start reading again.
Yeah, same. I need to start setting aside an hour every day and just read.
Yeah, I mean, it's also good for your brain. It's good. It'll be good for early onset dementia.
Good for fighting dementia. That, crossword puzzles, and Jeopardy, the three things you need to fight that dementia.
Video games are good too. For that.
That's true. Actually,
you
4
solve
things.
Problems, and you use your hand-eye coordinations.
That's why you and I are going to be trapped in our decaying bodies, still knowing what's going on.
Fun. Sounds like a plan. I'm already trapped in my decaying.
Whatever.
Body. My body's already started decaying. It's great for you because you could look at me and see your future.
Yeah,
you know, I'm a few years ahead. This is what's coming for you, baby.
Yeah.
And it ain't pretty, I'll tell you that much.
It's really crazy with just 4 years. Because I remember being like, 42. Like, this isn't bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. The pandemic didn't help at all.
No.
Definitely fast-forwarded a lot of those issues.
No, 50s are weird. 60s are going to be brutal. If I make it, it's going to be tough.
You're going to have like an Indian summer where in your 60s suddenly you're like all fit again, and you're going to be like, whatever, and then 70's going to hit.
I ain't making it to 70, baby. No way.
Well, so because we were covering Quantum Leap, both Jim and I started watching the new show.
Yeah.
Which neither of us had watched.
Nope.
I specifically stayed away because I'm not a fan of crappy remakes.
Nope. We're talking to you, Magnum PI.
Yeah. Hawaii Five-0, all those. Like, it's not, although, I mean, Hawaii Five-0 is fine.
The exception that proved the rule was Battlestar Galactica.
Yes. It actually kind of started the whole, like, remake thing.
Yeah.
But that was also because it had Ronald D. Moore, and he knew what he wanted to do with it. Like, he knew.
It was clever, and the same thing that makes the new Quantum Leap show enjoyable is the same thing, which is they built upon the premise. They didn't make it a new thing. It's hard to reboot something when you just negate, like Magnum.
Yeah.
And I know it's lasted 5 seasons or whatever.
Yeah.
And people probably really enjoy it, but I will never watch it because I don't care. There's one Magnum for me, one Higgins for me, one TC, baby.
Yeah.
One Higgy, baby. And I know, whatever. I'm an old crank. But but they had a great idea for either a movie or a show, which was to use Magnum's daughter as the investigator, which would have been brilliant because it continues on, and you don't need to, you could have people come back if you want or not. So they trashed that and then just did their thing. But with Quantum Leap, they did what I love, which is it's a continuation of the story.
Yeah, I think if Magnum PI was starting now, they would do that. They would have it be a female lead. They would have it be his daughter. They would have it be all that stuff. But because it's starting like 2017, they were still thinking like, no, whatever. We'll just remake it and do whatever. But I feel like, because this is exactly what Quantum Leap has done.
Yeah.
Is that it was like, well, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. We can just do our thing. It's part of the timeline, and then we'll just change whatever we want. It doesn't matter.
But they don't negate the first series.
No.
And they build upon it.
Yeah, they look at the first series and Sam and Al in the same way that we do as viewers.
Right.
With that kind of respect. And like, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them.
Well,
literally.
Yeah. And they started the project again to try to find Sam.
Yeah, exactly. And it's interesting. I mean, I like the fact that Ernie Hudson's character is from the original show.
Yep.
Obviously, a different actor played him at that time.
What?
Although they did get Susan Diol back, who played Al's wife.
Well, she was a hard get. No, she's amazing. She's great.
But it's a good show. I was more impressed with the first season than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And I got emotionally attached to these characters.
Yeah.
Cried a couple times.
Oh.
It was sad.
No, I get it. Yeah, it is. And they push the melodrama like the first one, but they have solid actors, and that's the key to melodrama is
right.
And you can tell when they don't have the greatest guest stars that the melodrama starts pushing through.
Yes.
And you can laugh at it. We just watched the possible series finale.
Yeah, it technically hasn't been renewed for a third season yet, but
I think it will.
I think it will too. I mean, I assume I'm pretty sure the numbers have been pretty good for it, so it should get renewed. I guess it'd be another 13 episode season.
Sure.
Which, granted, the first season was like 18, and there were definitely probably 4 or 5 episodes I would have cut out. Or just felt unnecessary.
The problem is when you deal with very sensitive historical subjects with a goofball show.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. Like they did an episode about the LA riots. And as somebody who lived through the riots, it was a little bit zombie movie and a little bit not like insensitive or anything, but it was thin.
It was very, very dumbed down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you didn't really see the rioters. They were just kind of an unseen presence. Stay away from it'd be like, Sam's jumped into Auschwitz. That's not going to end well. Even with your best intentions.
Nobody wants to see that.
In the original series,
not in Quantum Leap.
There were a few white savior moments that don't age well, and it's it's like, you don't need to do that stuff. It's a show. It's a fun science fiction show.
Unfortunately, spoiler alert, we're going to spoil a whole bunch of stuff for the second season. So if you've not watched it, pause this, watch all 13 episodes, and come back. They're all available on Peacock.
Both seasons.
And NBC, NBC.com. So give them a watch. I mean, they're definitely worth it. If you like Quantum Leap at all, then it's a good show.
Or if you like time travel shows or sci-fi shows, it's got a really cool cast, and the effects are good. It's just it's done well. And like we said, these shows, they're TV shows, they're network shows.
Yeah. The second season, definitely, they realized they didn't have enough explosions in the first season, so every episode features some kind of an explosion.
Now, I enjoyed the first season overreaching arc of the Leaper X.
The Leaper X, and trying to figure
Leaper.
out. Yeah, they essentially... they said, literally, in the finale of the first season that they were just essentially ripping off the Terminator, which they were.
They were.
And they acknowledged that, and it was clever. It was like, okay, but it worked. And I was surprised by how well it worked out. It was very well written.
But they didn't quite stick the landing with it, I don't think.
How so?
Well, I never really got a full sense of his motivations, Leaper X. It just seemed like, government's blaming everything on the Quantum Leap program, so I'm going to come kill him. And there was that episode where he... saves Sam, but then he kills him.
Well, I think they were thinking that they needed to shut down the project. So then, because I think the people in power, to me, it's Terminator, but it was more 12 Monkeys. I feel like the Leaper X people were sending him back to kill the Leaper, so that way he couldn't change anything, and they would still have power.
Right.
I think that's, at the end of the day... But you're right. I mean, it wasn't totally clear, but I just keep, every time I started to overanalyze, I just think back to you saying, it's a time travel show, just let it go.
Exactly.
You just got to let it go.
And it's also a network show. And I don't mean that as a disparaging thing, but network shows are network shows.
There's limitations. For a very general audience. People watching network television are boomers and older than us. Like and not saying that boomers are dumb, but like in general, for a general audience, you have to be able to dumb it way down. I mean, it's just how it is.
Yeah.
And that doesn't make it bad by any means.
Now, the second season, the overall arc was kind of a time traveler's wife situation.
Yes, it was interesting. I liked that aspect. Now, granted, I'm a huge fan of the time traveler's wife, the book. The two entertainment medias that have come out about it.
There's a movie and a
There's
series,
a movie and a
right?
series. I didn't actually see the series. The movie was okay, but but the book was really good, and it was something that, like, an aspect of time travel that I'd never thought of.
Yeah.
And they essentially do that here in Quantum Leap in the season 2. He keeps jumping into the life of this woman, who of course he tells he's a time traveler, and then she just knows every time he shows up.
Hey Ben, is that you, Ben?
Like the second he starts talking, she's just like, "Whoa."
She was great too. I liked her a lot.
Fantastic.
Great chemistry between her and the lead.
Raymond Lee.
So
Eliza Taylor plays Hannah, the new love interest that he meets in 1947, and then jumps forward and then tells her the thing, and then essentially over the course of 27 or 30 years, he meets her throughout, which actually has an impact on the end of the season and the overarching plot. We
both saw it coming, and we both were like, it's like being in a train wreck.
I was not very happy when they revealed who the quote unquote baddie was at the end.
No, that was dumb.
It didn't help any that I think it's James Frayne, the guy who plays the bad guy, the billionaire, the Elon Musk type who wants to take over Quantum Leap.
Right, who does.
Yes, but it was obvious that he did not think the writing was very good because he was definitely phoning it in.
Yeah. I mean, he's a stage actor, and he was staging it up.
Yeah,
he was eating the scenery, ham and cheese, and fisting it up. But he was also a bad guy in Gotham, and it was kind of the same.
Yeah, and he played a bad guy in Star Trek Discovery. He was...
I don't think he was a bad guy.
Oh, wasn't he? Oh, no. I thought Sarek was a bad guy.
No, Sarek is
never mind.
Spock's father, I think.
Oh.
Or is that Sabak? I don't know.
I got to be honest, I've only seen one episode of Star Trek Discovery, so I don't know.
It's good, and he was good in it because he's playing a Vulcan. And
I mean, he's a good actor. Yeah. There's by no means should he be relegated to the dustbin because he's not. But
the worst hairstyle of anybody. He looked like a mushroom. It looked like he just got out of getting a permanent. His hair looked permed, and he just looked goofy. That
is the one thing I will say about this season is that they did not do a terribly good job with time appropriate hair.
Yes.
I know that seems like a nitpick, but from the very first episode, he's in 1978, and it's no, the woman that's leading them in the military, her hair would not be like that.
Yeah.
It was too modern. And that is very nitpicky. That's the last I'm going to say
and
about
the fact that they don't do age makeup.
Oh my God, at all. She aged 27 years and looked exactly the same. They may have given her a little bit more creases.
Not just her, but when he goes to see
Ian
in the future, it's
it's supposed to be 30 years later.
Gray hair and some glasses, and they're supposed to be 60.
And somehow they're 60. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Although I will say that Mason, whoever, I don't know their last name, who plays Ian, is really good on the show.
Yes, all of them are.
Very natural.
Yeah.
They understand. Yes, the core group definitely understands what the writers are doing and where they're going with it, and they really have those characters nailed.
Great chemistry between the cast.
Yeah.
They all seem to really get along, and they're family.
Yeah.
Who could be? But the chemistry of the core cast, and just like the original, the likability, watchability, and charm of the lead.
Raymond Lee is so good.
He's great.
So good.
And he has great chemistry with
Addison. Who's name it? It's Emily something.
Sure. But it's it's a show that can transcend the writing.
Caitlin Bassett, who plays his
Addison.
his hologram.
his hologram, his ex-fiancée.
That was the thing in the second season, and this is something that really annoys Jim, is that they finally they're going to get together at the end of the first season. They're finally, I mean, they technically did. They got to kiss, because it was 5 years and whatever. But then he didn't. The second season started and he was just gone, and it was
3 years.
Oh yeah, 3 years passed, and she left, and they tied it up at the end, but they did a good job of kind of bypassing those the jealous new boyfriend and all that stuff. It worked to a point, and then he kind of got mad and took his ball and went home.
Well, this is the thing. If you're gonna do it, do it. Have the balls to do it. I don't, it's fine if you're gonna break them up, but I hate artificial drama, and it's a bummer for the guy coming in and playing the
Tom,
because that it's they kind of made him a jerk. It's weird. It's like they didn't know. They wanted to do it in a way that there's no bad guys or whatever, but they didn't have enough confidence to do that. So during the breakup, there was a little bit of is he going to be vindictive or whatever? But he's not. I mean, he's the guy that helps them get in.
I mean, he literally at one point, Ben says, "Yeah, and I really like Tom."
Yeah.
And it's
we all do.
Yeah,
I mean, and I think it's more interesting for them to be apart and stay apart. And
I agree.
Have a really healthy relationship. And then he can explore like he did with the Time to Have His Wife stuff because he fell in love with
exactly.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I think that even if Tom had stuck around, I think, and now major spoilers for it literally just as of this recording aired last night.
Yes.
So just major spoilers.
We're doing it.
They end up trying to swap Addison and Ben.
Right.
And instead, using code from his time traveler's wife, who he met through 30 years. Anyway.
Who somehow,
is a super
in the
genius.
70s, was able to come up with an equation for something that doesn't even exist.
While she's trapped under Rebel. No, I did.
No, she had thought of it before.
No, I know. It's just funny. She's like, maybe you guys can use your technology to use it.
Before
It's okay. In 50 years. Anyway, so the whole thing is that they to get Ben back home, they had to swap him with somebody else. And, of course, they were just like, oh, we're just going to find some random person and throw him in there, and then they can deal with it.
Which makes absolutely no sense.
Is awful, considering...
Because Addison was supposed to be the leaper at the beginning.
And the fact that they're trying to be helping people. It doesn't... It's like, oh, yeah.
And it's it's bad for Addison, but let's just ruin a rando's life because they're not our friend.
Exactly. We don't know them. Who cares? So, of course, Addison is like, no, I'm going to jump in and do it. And then it works out in the end for her because she ends up leaping to wherever Ben is, but she's actually there.
Looks like the Blitzkrieg.
Yeah, it's something in either England or France in World War II.
Yeah.
But they're both there together and they are able to be together. And to me, it would have been more interesting if she still had that relationship with Tom. Because you're setting up a third season where it's well, they're together now. What does that mean?
And then Tom could be the hologram, and that would be even more
Exactly.
But they don't have the guts on
No.
these generic network shows to take those types of risks.
No.
It's the moonlighting effect, man. It's you keep bouncing everything around until you finally get there. And, it was the same exact plot point where they get together and then she ends up marrying somebody else. It's just
right.
And then, it's only there to delay the inevitable. It's just...
I mean, they tried to wrap that whole thing up by having Addison just say to Ben, I'm really sorry I didn't wait for you.
Yeah.
And it's well, they thought you were dead.
Yeah. He already forgave her for that.
Yeah. It was just one of those okay. But again, I still think it's a great show.
Yes.
I still really like it.
We're more nitpicky on stuff that we really like because we like it and we just want to make it better.
I want it to be better. Yeah.
We do that with everything that we love. Except for even Stephen King, because we talk about insomnia.
Yeah,
and the fact that he doesn't land the ending all the time.
I mean, look at The Institute. I wanted to at least go back to the older dude once in a while. Yeah. But that it happens, and that's what it is. And I really like the show. I highly recommend watching it. It's really good.
And they did a good job. If there's no third season, I guess it works.
I mean, I guess they're out there together. I guess. jumping
make any
around
sense.
together.
I don't understand how that worked.
I don't either. There has to be a third season. They have to do a third season.
Or maybe just a movie to wrap it up if they don't.
Yeah, just something. I mean, but then again, pedigree for Quantum Leap, not always going to be satisfying in the ending.
No. Well, maybe if they do a card, they could spell the names right this time. And still, to this day, Sam Beckett's name is still
fixed it.
30 years later. It hasn't been corrected.
So silly.
F you guys and your disrespect. I'm hoping that Scott Bakula will come back. If it's made it through 3 seasons, then he could be like, okay, it's established, I can come back.
If anything, just where they jump in and he's there.
Yeah.
Like maybe he's doing something, or whatever. But then again, if they don't, I wouldn't be sad if they don't ever show him again, but it'd be nice to have some kind of closure.
It would be very fun to have a team up buddy cop 2-parter where, now it'd better be a thruple because now we have when they figure this out and maybe there's one leaper again, it would be very cool to have like a 2-parter where they have to work together to save something big or it's like and we can kind of catch up with Sam and Sam can find out about Al and have a proper send-off to Sam Beckett and a proper ending to him.
I think it'd be interesting if they were like, make a super meta, like have them leaping into like 1995 have him be somebody working on the original Quantum Leap. Maybe he's not there. Maybe he's before he leaps or whatever. Maybe we find out why he jumps in so early.
Look, Scott Bakula's not doing a ton of stuff right now.
No, he's actually kind of removed himself from the limelight,
which is sad because he's a
great actor.
But it would be really interesting. Let's say that they use the formula and they can finally save Sam and they bring him back and he and Magic run the show and he's part of the
have
whole.
Him come back and do the thing,
because he's the guy who created it all. It would be great, and so hopefully they'll get a 3rd season and they'll be able to convince Scott Bakula, hey, who's like your blood, to come back.
I hope so. There's just so many possibilities. And I read an article from one of the showrunner talking about the 2 of them there and all the possibilities you have of and what does it mean for them as in their relationship because they're not technically together now and but we'll see.
But I think they kind of might.
It would be like one episode of getting them back together. Like it's not going to be. It's not. Yeah.
But does that discount the fact that he's in love with his time traveler's wife?
But he can't be with her. Like he literally can't be with her.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess
until they suddenly randomly jump into 1960 and she's there and it's like now we have more melodrama. Yeah. But I got the impression though that the whole double leaper thing is if they do a 3rd season it's going to be pretty much the overarching story.
And probably the time traveler's wife part is done because we got through the whole BS of her son being the supervillain.
Yeah. Oh my god.
So that was just so disappointing.
It was so
and we were talking about it. We're like, all the guys in the writers' room were high-fiving each other, coming up with that.
Yes,
we've solved it all. It's all a neat little package.
Oh, he was just such. They just ham-fisted that in there so hard. And
the guy was a sociopath, and you know what? Sociopathy isn't curable.
Well, he's choosing to be a better person when he's 10.
Either you're a sociopath or you're not, and you can't choose to be a better person if you're a sociopath. Trust me, I've dated a sociopath.
Apparently not in the Quantum Leap world.
Well, leapers.
Although they did also, I like the idea that they did change stuff and no one else remembered except for Addison, who was there at the time. So, that's kind of interesting.
But that's how it would be. If you do the butterfly effect achieved, when you get that alarm going off, then of course people, because there's the diverging timeline diverges when it diverges, and then you don't remember.
There's just a lot. There's a lot you can do with that. In the writers' room, I hope they explore that more and do more with that.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting.
You can get a quantum physicist in there to help you all out. But even though we've been critical, it's a really fun show, and if you're a Quantum Leap fan, it's a great companion series.
Yeah. To
the original Quantum Leap, and it's a continuation, and it's a lot of fun. And the The thing that makes it a really good companion series is it keeps that fun feel to it that the original had.
Yeah.
It's still got the melodrama.
Yeah.
Still got the hero complex. But it's also dealt with in a more mature way, if that makes sense. Or a more
evolved
21st century way.
more evolved way. Yeah, yeah.
And not like not in a way that's pandering. The characters are well-defined, well-rounded. They aren't stereotypes. They aren't like checking off the box. We need this guy and this guy and this type. They're just really great characters, a really great cast with a great chemistry, and I like hanging out with them.
Yeah, yeah. It's a great show. What else have you been watching?
TV-wise?
Yeah.
Well, let's see. We both watched the American Nightmare.
Yeah, that's on Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had actually heard a podcast, Criminal did a podcast, two-part about this, which is the first time I'd heard of it.
Yeah.
But I'd never seen their faces or anything like that. It's a crazy story.
Oh, my God.
Woman gets kidnapped. Husband is, or fiance, gets drugged, doesn't remember anything, takes him a while to get to the cops. And, of course...
Sounds all weird because he's coming off the drugs.
They don't believe him. They think he did it. They just ignore everything else.
She ends up getting released by the kidnappers to her father's home.
Yeah. And it was all true. I mean, then they were like, oh no, they're liars. And
well, unfortunately, at the time this happened, the movie Gone Girl came out based on the book Gone Girl. And if you don't remember, Gone Girl was about a woman faking her own death.
Yeah, well, faking her kidnapping. They assume she's dead.
Right, because of all the blood. I mean, she put tons of... It made it look like she was dead. And framed her husband for the murder. I mean, it was a murder trial, whatever. So because that came out at the same time, people are like, oh, well, this is just like the dumb movie.
She obviously did it.
She Gone Girl'd it.
Gone Girl'd it.
And they were all saying that, too. Oh, another Gone Girl thing. And the news and everybody. And the police, this piece of ass.
All of them.
All of them. The guy says to the cop before the first news conference, or not the first news conference, but the conference after they think that she's faked it, burn that bitch.
Yeah. And, well,
sexism.
Nothing came of it. It was very sad. Vallejo PD. If you're ever in Vallejo, don't ever get on the Vallejo PD's wrong side. Because they don't care about you.
You know what else happened in Vallejo PD?
The
Zodiac Killer, which was never
one of them.
solved.
Yeah.
That's where it started. These guys were jerks. And it took a hero policewoman to solve this crime and to give justice to this poor couple who were vilified.
Yeah.
Vilified after going through something so traumatic and horrifying to be victimized over and over again, not just from the police, but from the media, from everybody, from online people writing horrible things to them. They had to basically go in hiding.
Yeah. I mean, she had been raped twice. Like, they didn't believe her.
No.
They wouldn't do rape kits. Like, it was awful.
It got to the point. It was so bad that the actual kidnapper rapist started emailing the cops being like, she was kidnapped by me.
Yeah, exactly.
When you have the criminal chastising the cops, you know you effed up, man. Jesus.
It's so good, though. It's done really well. Documentary done very well.
Yeah.
Highly recommend watching that. It's very good.
It's really good. There's another documentary, this one on HBO Max, called, you haven't seen this one, but it's The Truth About Jim. It's not about me. It's interesting. And it's for me, it was a very interesting portrait of people going through horrible abuse.
Yeah.
Traumatic life with a monster. And them basically being like, well, he probably is a murderer. So they first, think he's this rapist murderer that was going around. And then it gets to the point where they think he is the Zodiac Killer.
Oh, wow.
And, to their credit, they go to investigators and they do everything by the book. And, it's not like,
Right.
They really try to figure it out.
Yeah.
They're not pushing an agenda. They think, because all this stuff that happened during it, it's very fascinating. But to me, the most fascinating thing was just to see, not fascinating, but also heartbreaking, just to see the repercussions of abuse.
Yeah.
From the grandmother, who was Jim's third wife, I think, third or fourth wife, to the daughter, to the granddaughter.
Right.
The cycle of abuse that, that went through from this one man who ruined generations of lives. His own kids.
Right.
His other wives. This man was a wrecking ball of evil, not evil, good and evil is a weird concept to me, but of, pure anger, hatred, meanness, And so it's just interesting to see them kind of heal together by going through this process. The whole family, like the extended family and everybody, they kind of come together to go through this journey of, was he a murderer? Was he a rapist? Was he a killer? And then to kind of come together at the end, and through all this process, it brought them closer together and helped them heal together. And I think that was very positive, and it makes it worthwhile to watch the series, even though, the salaciousness is was he this and was he that?
Yeah.
But it's ancillary to what I think it was really about, which was kind of a family.
The family.
Healing.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I did enjoy it. Took me a couple of days. It's 4 episodes.
Yeah.
It's definitely an interesting watch.
I've been watching The Floor, which is a game show hosted by Rob Lowe.
Nice.
It's a really fascinating. I assumed that it was a British show that got adapted, but I think it was actually a Dutch show.
Who's Dutch?
But it's 81 people. They all have a square, and they're all an expert in a category. Which, granted, I think that's expert being a very loose definition because some of them are like celebrity hair and stuff like that. But the idea is that you get randomly chosen, and then you have to challenge somebody around you in their category. And then you go up and you have essentially get shown either pictures or quotes or whatever, and you have to say what the thing is.
Oh, okay.
And you get 45 seconds. Every time you get an answer right, the clock for the other person starts going. If they get it wrong, nothing happens. If they pass, 3 seconds ticks down and they get a new picture. It's a great show. I think it's up to like the 7th or 8th episode now.
Why is it called The Floor?
Because they're on the floor. Like, that's the whole thing, is you're trying to win all the territory in the floor.
Oh, so I thought it was like the floor is lava kind of
No,
thing.
everyone has a box. And then when they start at 81, 9 by 9, and then if you win, you get that piece of the floor.
Okay.
So then the other thing is that at the end of the day, the last person left wins $250,000. But if you have the most territory at the end of the episode, you get $20,000.
Oh, okay.
So it's like there was somebody on there that won like 60 or 80 grand. Like, she was on for a while and then eventually lost.
So you can keep going.
The idea is that once you win, you can decide to challenge somebody else around you, or you can go back to the floor and then they'll do a random like choosing. And then someone potentially would like challenge you. But the idea is that you still would have your category.
Okay. Now, does your win go to the next show?
Yeah. It's the same people through the
Jeopardy.
entire 10 episodes.
So you can keep... Okay.
I mean, literally, there are people right now that I've seen like 6 episodes. There are people that haven't done anything in 6 episodes.
Oh, wow.
Like, they're just there waiting. And it's gotten pretty far into it right now. But it's a great show. It's done really well. There's a lot of strategy to it.
Nice.
It's really fascinating. I just haven't seen a new game show in a long time.
Yeah.
And it works really well. Like,
Rob Lowe's great.
I'm really impressed. Yeah, and he really literally has to do almost nothing. Like, he just brings people up, says hi, and then walks off while they challenge each other.
I literally do nothing.
But he's great, though. He's so charming.
He's very charming.
But the people are great, and it's a good show. It's a good show because it ends up like a lot of people think about like, I'm going to take this territory because then I'm going to get the $20,000, and then a lot of people are like, well, I'm here to win all the money.
Right.
But it's good. Anyway, it's on Fox. We're watching it on Hulu right now.
Nice.
It's really good. I highly recommend it.
All right. Check it out, baby. The Floor with Rob Lowe. Just finished. I think you're still a couple episodes behind, but just finished True Detective, Night Country.
I am all the episodes behind except for the first episode. I haven't. It unfortunately it came out right when I was starting to travel, so like I just haven't. I've been watching Quantum Leap.
Nice.
I just haven't watched it yet.
I've been saving up Curb Your Enthusiasm. I'm gonna binge it. I don't want to.
Yeah. God, I can't. That's one show I cannot binge.
It's a cringe binge.
It's not, yeah.
The cringe binge. I termed that, by the way.
Nice.
Put it on a T-shirt.
Put it on a T-shirt.
Look, I thought it was great. I thought Jodie Foster and Kelly Reese were awesome together. Really complicated characters, complicated performances. It's weird, though. It's gotten a lot of backlash.
Really?
Oh, my God. What's his name? Nick
Pizzolatto.
Nick Pizzolatto has been trashing the ass out of it.
Why?
I don't know.
It's his own show. He still gets an executive producer credit on that.
He's upset at the way that they incorporated the first season into it, which I thought was really clever and interesting, and thought the cast was really good. I love stuff in snow. I love Arctic stuff. It reminds me of The Thing. It's got that vibe.
Yeah.
I thought it was really satisfying. I thought it was really good. It made me want to go back and watch the first season again.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't get it. I just guess I don't understand people in entertainment anymore.
Right.
There's so many things that I like that people seem to just despise.
Right.
I don't know if it's like sexism or whatever. I don't know, because it just seems like a lot of the stuff that I like that people don't like have strong female leads.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and it's like, I don't know. But I truly enjoyed it. If you're a fan of True Detective, if you're a fan of Jodie Foster, if you're a fan of snow movies or snow shows, you're gonna love it. It was great. It's a quick 6 episodes, and
I didn't realize it was only 6 episodes. Like, I thought it was longer than that, but I'm excited to watch the rest of it.
Jodie Foster is a master. I mean, watching her work is just, she makes it look so easy.
And Callie Reese, like the fact that she's a boxer and like retired former boxer, but like, she's really good.
Yeah, again, another athlete turned actor that shows you that acting is just the easiest thing in the world. It's
true.
Stop churching it up, people.
Everybody get on that.
You're lucky enough to have the easiest job in the world that pays you way, way, way too much money.
Yeah.
So just enjoy it. Quit trying to church it up. But yeah, I recommend it. I thought it was great. I'm sure there's other stuff that I was watching, but I think that's...
Yeah, for TV-wise, I think that's definitely American Nightmare. Check out Quantum Leap. Check out The Floor. And Night Country, True Detective Night Country. Watch it.
Yeah, they're all really good shows, all very different.
Don't let other people tell you how the show is for you.
Exactly.
Watch it for yourself.
Don't listen
and decide.
to the haters, man.
Yeah.
You could hate it, and that's fine. And look, there are things that I'm sure that are technically whatever. I don't know.
What?
I just don't get it. I don't
things
get
that are technically whatever.
I'm sure that there was plot holes and this and that, but I didn't see it. I didn't.
Yeah. There are a lot of haters. This is evidenced from the fact that like the new Quantum Leap, they're very inclusive about non-binary people. There's a whole episode set back in the 1940s about a non-binary person, and
so that was look. The episode was goofy, over the top.
It was done well.
It was the Indiana Jones episode, which was really fun.
Yeah,
but in the midst of this kind of goofy treasure hunting thing, they had a very serious. They had a serious situation with this non-binary person, and they coming out. When people didn't even know what non-binary was, they basically not invented it, but they coined the term.
Yeah.
And not only that, but to watch Ian's reaction to seeing this,
exactly,
his emotional reaction to it was human. It was so humanizing.
Well, and that's the power of seeing this stuff in media.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the episode got like 3 points less than everything else on
Bigot's
on
gonna
IMDb.
bigot, man.
I know.
And it's just gross. Live and let live, baby. It doesn't have any effect on you. And if it does have an effect on you, then there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, if you're watching something and suddenly you're like, well, I don't agree with this, then why are you watching that show?
There's a difference between not agreeing with something and being a hateful bigot.
Yeah. It's like, just open your mind a little bit. It's not hard.
Well, that's the thing. The more you expand, the more you step out of your little box, the more people you meet, the more places you visit, the more open-minded you're going to be.
Yeah. So speaking of, let's talk about Bottoms.
Oh, my God. So this is, for me, like the super-duper pick of the month.
Yeah.
Bottoms is the funniest movie I've seen in years. Probably my favorite movie of last year.
Wow.
Or at least close to it. I watched it twice. I haven't done that in a long time. But it is so weird and
so
funny
weird
and subversive.
Yeah.
And it's just a great raunchy, stylized teen comedy that came out of nowhere.
Yeah, yeah.
And just blew me away.
It is definitely the amazing thing about this movie is that it's about these two main characters and they're both lesbians and they just want to essentially get laid.
Yes.
And that's it. And like the movie isn't making a big deal of the fact that they're lesbians.
Nope.
It's just the fact that they want to leave high school and get laid before leaving high school.
Right. And they live in this world where people are openly bigoted to them. The principal is like, can the ugly, untalented gays come?
Yeah.
It wasn't the fact that they're gay. It's the fact that they're ugly and untalented.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes people dislike them. Because they even point out, like, the talented gay guy everybody loves.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
yes.
It's just all the football players always wear their uniforms and their pads.
It is the weirdest satire. It is so good.
The less you know about it,
Yeah.
the better. And I say let's not spoil anything because it is just...
Yes, I just want to talk about some of the creative team behind it.
Oh,
but
my
I
God.
agree. I don't want to spoil anything because you should just go into it watching it. It is on Amazon Prime.
Yep.
You can watch it if you have Amazon Prime.
Commercials.
I know.
Unless
Well,
you pay
which
the extra
granted,
$3.
I got to be honest. Everyone was writing about how the world was falling, the sky was falling because of Amazon Prime and the commercials. And I literally only see one 30-second commercial before anything I watch on Amazon Prime.
The first time I watched Bottoms, there was a couple of commercials.
Oh, really?
In the middle, which it was a bummer.
It's jarring. Yeah.
And they weren't long. But still, it's like, I think they're easing into it.
Yeah.
And they're like, see, it's not a big deal. And then by the time we get used to it, it'll be, that 360
Oh my
seconds
God!
left.
I have been total aside, but I have been researching stuff for next month and have been watching stuff on Plex, which is free.
Yeah.
And number one, I'm watching a show that had built-in spots for commercials,
Right.
and they just randomly interrupt wherever. But those commercials are all 240 seconds long.
Oh my God!
And it is an eternity.
Yeah, and you're just watching a bunch of Steve Garvey for Senate commercials.
So many weird. I will say there was a lot of local politicians that apparently have way more money to put stuff on TV than I thought.
It's probably pretty cheap to put it on Plex.
Well, yeah, I imagine.
That's where you get your bang for your buck. But
So, Bottoms, the writers were Emma Seligman and Rachel Sennett. Emma Seligman also directed the movie. She directed the movie Shiva Baby in 2020, which was about her similar, like a lesbian at a Shiva that's trying to get laid, I think.
Something like that.
Something like that. But
and Rachel Sennett was one of the...
is the lead, one of the leads.
She and
Io Edeberry.
Were...
Edeberry, sorry, I said it wrong.
That's all right. It's a tough name. I had to I've been fan...
Could have sworn SNL they always say Edeberry.
It's Edeberry, I think.
I don't know. Anyway.
Remember we had to do the listening thing?
Yeah,
yeah. I'm sure you know of Io because she's blown up because of The Bear, and rightly so, deservedly so, because I think she's hugely talented. I've been a fan of hers for years.
Yeah.
I caught a stand-up set on YouTube of her years ago that I thought was hilarious, and then she ended up replacing Jenny Slate as one of the voices in Big Mouth.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds exactly, I mean...
weird.
Yeah.
Weird. I didn't know that. Okay.
And one of the writers also. Mm-hmm. And she's a writer. She was a writer on Abbott Elementary. She was a writer on a bunch of stuff. And now she's just kind of becoming this star, which is so fun to watch because she's so baffled about it. It's fun to watch somebody who's not... doesn't seem like a star type of person become a star, and she's the one that thanked all the assistants. When she got her People's Choice Award. I think
No,
Golden Globe.
Golden Globe, I think. Yeah,
People's Choice Awards are garbage.
They're just slightly lower than Golden Globes.
Golden Globes are worse.
Pretty garbage. Yeah.
But anyway, so she's hilarious, super talented, and they have such a great chemistry in this movie.
Oh, my God. So good.
And just so natural and likable and funny without trying to be funny.
It's weird seeing her credits because watching her on Bottoms, she looks like she's like 14.
Yeah.
And it's weird to think that she's been writing for like 15 years.
She's 30. I think
she's 28. She's 28. But like everybody, Emma Seligman, Rachel Sennett, Adebary, thank you. Io Adebary are all 28. In fact, everybody in the cast, obviously except for Marshawn Lynch and the mom, are all 28 except for Kaya Gerber, who is Cindy Crawford's daughter.
Oh my
who
God.
is actually 21
who looks so much like her mom.
So spitting image, it's weird.
Is it her and Richard Gere's kid?
Maybe. I don't know.
She's pretty tall for being Richard Gere's kid. If she is.
I don't. No, it's not. It's Gerber. The last name is her dad's name. I think it was the guy after.
From the Gerber Baby Foods?
Yeah, she's 22. Randy Gerber. No, I don't think it's.
He's a producer, right?
He founded Casamigos with George Clooney.
Oh
wow, he's a handsome dude.
No wonder she's so gorgeous.
He's a handsome man.
Yeah, it was funny because...
Oh, yeah, he was a former model, of course.
Well, a couple of models.
Yeah, he does Gerber Group. He just essentially starts restaurants, bars, and lounges. Like, that's his thing.
A handsome man starting a restaurant. What a great life.
Him and Cindy Crawford got married in 98.
Oh, okay.
They must have had the kid right away.
Well, she looks so much like her mom.
She's great.
So funny.
So funny in this.
So funny. I hope to see her more. I had no idea. I did think, like, wow, that woman looks a lot like... Who does she look like?
Yeah.
Who is it? Cindy Crawford. And then when I found out it was Cindy Crawford's daughter, I'm like, yes, that's exactly who she looks like.
She my absolute favorite line when she gets kissed is just like, but I'm straight.
Yeah.
It's like, oh.
My favorite was she's like, I'm straight, but I just like gay porn.
Yeah.
And Marshawn Lynch.
Marshawn Lynch is so good.
Marshawn Lynch is becoming my favorite ex-football player turned actor.
Which it doesn't really seem like he's doing acting. He's just being Marshawn Lynch.
Yes, which is enough. He was hilarious on that improvised detective show on Netflix.
Yes,
that,
with
Will Arnett.
Yeah.
The voice of all trucks.
Yeah.
Chevy Dove. He was hilarious on that, which was improvised, which is even more impressive.
Yeah.
And in this, he's this dude who's getting divorced, and he becomes an ally, then a non. He's great.
He's really, really funny.
All the girls in the Fight Club are hilarious. They're all unique in their own great way. It's Stripes.
They're all very well defined characters.
It is a typical high school want to get laid.
Yeah.
Lovable losers.
It has a very 80s feel to it.
Totally. Yeah. But it's just, instead of a bunch of straight white dudes, it's lesbians, which is just so funny.
I do also want to point out Nicholas Galitzine, who was the lead football player.
Captain of the football team.
Captain of the football team, who was so good in this.
Oh, my God.
There's a particular scene where they're trying to essentially pull a prank on him, and he's listening to... the Total Eclipse of the Heart, and it's so good. It is so good. He's so funny.
Yeah, you're going to love this movie.
Yeah.
If you love comedy, if you love raunchy high school comedies, you're going to adore this movie. And I mean, I love this movie so much that I posted about it, which I don't post about anything. And it's got a very good response.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, it's the funniest movie I've seen in years. And and it's just pure joy. And I watched it twice within a week.
Yeah.
Because I wanted Adam and Phoebe and Newt to see it. So I was like...
It was good. It was really good. It was very entertaining. Very, very entertaining.
Yeah, such a good movie.
We also watched The Baker, which is on Hulu, which I think actually came out a few years ago.
It's a 2019, I think.
Oh, yeah.
It's an older movie. It's a B movie.
Yeah.
I had never heard of it. But what makes it great is Ron Perlman.
Oh, he's so good.
Ron Perlman is one of the greatest actors ever.
Yeah.
In American
makes it look
film.
So easy.
But he is so good. This movie did not deserve his performance. No. I'm sorry. And his performance and the chemistry he has with the little girl.
Yeah.
It's your typical oh, screw up son does something, leaves his daughter with grandpa. And grandpa's a former kick-ass spy or whatever he is.
Green Beret or something.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's a very hackneyed plot that's been done over and over again, and it's not particularly well written or particularly great, except for the fact that Ron Perlman is absolutely transcendent in this.
Yeah.
His performance is so good. He shows up and stuff all the time, but to see him lead a movie and to be able to do it so well with such mediocre material.
It's true.
And Elias Koteas is in it. It's so great to see him. I haven't seen him in years.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
He's looking so old.
Yeah.
But he was great. Harvey Keitel was in it.
He made some interesting choices.
Harvey Keitel has become a parody of himself, just like all these guys do.
Yeah.
I think what happens with these dudes in these B movies is you get these directors that are probably pretty green or whatever, and then you get an actor like Harvey Keitel, or back when Bruce Willis was doing a million movies, you get Michael Madsen, whomever all these guys that keep doing a million B movies a year because, hey, they get $1 million for 3 days work or however much.
Yeah.
Some of them.
It's not quite $1 million, but
Willis did.
But that's also why they do a lot of them.
Yes. But it's just, I mean, Keitel is just kind of like, what happens is, I think what I'm trying to say is they get these actors and they defer to whatever they want to do because they're such icons.
They're newer directors. They don't know. They don't want to be like, well, I'm not going to step on your toes, and you do your thing.
But they need a director.
They do. They definitely do.
You need somebody to rein them in. Not everybody's a Ron Perlman who's just absolutely perfect. But I was flipping through movies. I was bored one night. I saw this. I watched the trailer, and I was like, well, F it. I'll check it out.
Yeah.
I was so surprised. I was riveted. I loved it, and I recommended it to you.
Yeah, and Phoebe and I literally watched it that night, I believe.
Yeah, and it's definitely worth a watch. It's a fun B movie, and if you're a Ron Perlman fan, which why wouldn't you be?
Yeah.
You're going to love it.
We also did both watch The Marvels. Just want to talk about quickly.
Yeah.
I finally watched it.
Me too.
But it was entertaining. It was fun.
It was fun. Look, I think Marvel, at least in this phase, has a villain problem in just about all of their movies.
Yes.
Even in the last phase, they most of their villains. I can't even remember who they are, or they're over the top. It's just, they get a good actor like Christian Bale to come in and he does a good job, but it's like, who cares? It's again.
Yeah, I don't know. God, I literally can't even think of the last 5 movies. I can't even think of who the bad guys are.
Right. And unfortunately, and it's not the actor's fault. It just was a
super bland character.
Blandly written, very cliched, basically the same character is Ronan, right?
Yeah.
Ronan the Destroyer.
The Accuser.
Ronan the Accuser. It was basically the same villain in female form, and as good as the actor is, it's just the material wasn't there.
No. It was a very underwritten character.
But the 3 leads were extremely charismatic, super fun. Amon Villani, is that how you say her name? She is just pure joy.
Oh my God, she's so much fun to watch.
The fight scene with her and Sam Jackson in the space station was so much fun. Where she's like fangirling all over him, and it's just she is just such a delight. Her family, I loved Ms. Marvel. I think out of all of the Marvel shows, Ms. Marvel might be my favorite.
Yeah.
I think I had the most fun with it.
Yes.
Because it just had that fun comic book feel to it, and then you have just the unending charisma of the lead.
She's so good.
I hope to see her in a lot more stuff. She is so talented, and Alison Brie is great. She's so weird and quirky, and I love her take on Captain Marvel. Teyana Paris as Rambo.
Monica Rambeau.
I
keep trying to give her a name. It's so great.
And she's like, what about Professor Marvel? She's like,
Nope.
But the 3 of them, the power switching thing, I thought was really fun. I thought
it was clever.
The musical Planet thing was really fun with, Alice and Brie having to sing I don't know. I thought, look, was it perfect? No. But it had the same problems every Marvel movie has, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Which is a weak villain. And being a slave to this, whatever through line, time travel,
bigger thing is going on right
whatever
now.
they're trying to make this phase about, which I don't.
Right.
It keeps changing.
They have to. Unfortunately,
have to change it because of what happened to the lead bad guy,
Jonathan Majors.
Yeah. They had to replace him. But look, again, I think this movie had a lot of undeserved hate.
Yeah.
It's not the worst movie ever. It's not. It's a lot of fun if you like fun, silly comic book movies. The stuff with the cats is hilarious.
That's one of my favorite lines now in any Marvel movie. Please stop running. Let the Flurkin eat you. It was so clever and it was funny. I really enjoyed it.
Same.
I mean, it had issues. It definitely had issues, but I definitely enjoyed it, and I'm glad I saw it.
Same. And I would recommend it because I think it's a really fun film. And in terms of Marvel films, it's definitely better than The Eternals. And
I'm sorry, the what?
Exactly. It's the best Marvel movie of this phase, I think. I can't think of anything I liked better. I think Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was good.
Yeah, that was probably my favorite of all of them.
Because it was established and
it was a good. I mean, he's done now. Like, he's not going to do any more of them. So
which is fine. I think the 3 movies and the special, it's a nice, compact little chunk.
Agreed.
Great chunk. You're probably just going to ruin it if you add to that chunk.
It's going to be. It's definitely somebody else is going to take it over, and it's not going to be as good.
No, because it's James Gunn. James Gunn is extremely, again, like Dave Filoni.
Yeah.
It's these guys that are super fans of what they do. It's precious to them. They have an obligation in their mind to make it as good as it can be because it is something that has been important to them ever since they were little kids.
Right.
I mean, the reason why Gunn has so many weird villains in his stuff is because those are the villains that he loved as a child.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So give it a watch. It's on Disney Plus. Give it a watch.
Definitely worth seeing. I watched Oppenheimer last night.
You're still watching Oppenheimer right now.
I'm watching it right now.
Because it's 14 hours long.
Yes. Honestly, it is almost 4 hours long.
That's crazy.
But I wasn't... I'm glad. I mean, I don't think I could have sat through it in a theater just because of my gluteus minimus. It's hard for me to sit for too long because I don't have a butt. But I wasn't bored. I thought it was paced well. It's a little look. Christopher Nolan is very hit or miss for me. I love the Batman. I love one of the Batman movies, and I like the other two.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of Interstellar. I'm not a huge fan of
Inception, Interstellar. I liked them both.
They're fine.
Yeah.
Did he do Tenet?
He did.
Yeah, I was not a fan of Tenet.
Although his best movie,
Memento, was brilliant.
That was the very. I saw that in the theater when it came out.
Yeah, me too.
Like, it was so good. I was. It's one of those. Every time I watch it, I feel like I'm watching it again for the first time.
Yeah, very, very clever. Very, very clever film.
The Prestige.
Right.
The Prestige. It is a phenomenal movie, but it's one of the better written movies of his.
Yeah.
And it's not. I always like what he does, but he definitely seems like lately has become more miss than hit.
This was biopics are extremely hit or miss for me.
Yeah.
Because I think the best ones are the ones that focus on a certain era of somebody's life. Like Good Night, Good Luck with Edward Murrow.
Yeah.
It was very focused on that one night or whatever. Right?
Yeah.
Because when you go and this didn't go soup to nuts. This didn't go from birth to death.
Yeah.
It did have a chunk. And it was a bit of a long chunk.
Yeah.
But there's some superfluous things in there that I get were in there because they helped define his character or whatever, define him as a person. But the most interesting part was the bomb.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the psychological ramifications on these scientists about what they were creating.
Right.
And just the thought of changing the entire world to the point where it can be destroyed. You have unleashed the destruction of the world upon the world.
Right.
And that, to me, was just fascinating. The visual representations of Oppenheimer, thinking about all of the theories and the mathematics and stuff, I really enjoyed it. It got a little bit beautiful mindy in some parts, and, that didn't need it. Cillian Murphy was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, the acting was very uneven because they had some actors that aren't as good as Cillian Murphy.
Right.
And it really stood out. And I don't want to name names because I like these actors and other stuff.
Sure.
It also seemed like there was a lot of stunt casting where people just there's Josh Peck. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Not a big fan of his. But, there's Rami Malek in the background. And, it's like whoever visited on the set. It's like, throw him in a suit. Give him some glasses. But it was... I really enjoyed it. I think it's a fantastic movie. I don't think it's the best movie of the year.
Yeah.
And I'm 100% in the minority of this, I know. But I really did not like Robert Downey Jr.'s performance. I thought he was a cartoony supervillain at times. And I thought the whole framing of the movie around him and him... trying to destroy Oppenheimer, that was the weakest part of the movie for me. I was much more engaged with the building of the bomb. I thought Matt Damon was great as the general.
Right.
Go watch Fat Man and Little Boy if you want to see. But no, Damon was playing the same role that Paul Newman was playing in Fat Man and Little Boy.
Nice.
And he did a really good... Again, I love Matt Damon. I love him. But his performance was a little uneven in this.
Yeah.
It wasn't his best. There were moments that were great, but there were also moments that were kind of like slapsticky or kind of like this, well, where's this coming from kind of stuff.
I have read some articles about this, and Christopher Nolan does not give a lot of direction to his actors.
And he does not write women well.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Yeah. I think Florence Pugh did a great job with what she had. But her character was basically just a device.
Yeah.
She was just basically there to serve a purpose, and it didn't rise to her talent as an artist.
Yeah.
I also think that Emily Blunt was kind of shortchanged too, as the suffering wife who's the alcoholic, and then but is the tough woman that comes in at the end, and it just seemed a little melodramatic. There were just parts of it. I think, if you look at a lot of Nolan's movies, he doesn't really do women very well.
Right.
And that's, everybody has their shortcomings.
Yeah.
But again, really great movie, but it's not my favorite movie of the year. I think a lot of times seeing movies after all the hype and everything's passed, it usually doesn't live up to it. There's exceptions like the Barbie movie, which exceeded my expectations because I didn't think, But because of who's in it and because of who directed it and because of I had very high expectations for Oppenheimer. I mean, it didn't blow. It's not a bad movie by any stretch of the word. It was a great movie, one of the top of the year, but uneven and not his best work.
Right. Well, let's talk about video games.
Yeah, baby. So what are you playing?
I have one mission left in Ghost of Tsushima.
Nice.
I was gone for a while, so I haven't been able to play as much. But I've decided I'm just going to finish the story. I finished all the side quests and stuff.
And this is your second playthrough?
Yes. Okay. And it's because it's on the PS5. Right. I got the director's cut. It's PS5, and it's gorgeous. I'm playing on a 4K TV now, so it's pretty. So pretty. But yeah, I'm almost done with that. I did pick up, actually last night, I picked up a game that was suggested to me by Newt, Phoebe's younger sibling, called Killer Frequency, which is set in a radio station in 1987, where a killer is slowly making his way to the radio station, and you have to solve puzzles and figure out why. It looks really good. I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but
was it on sale?
Yeah, it was $15.
Oh.
But half off. But a good, like an indie game, but I'm excited to play it. Newt said it was great.
Nice.
So I'm excited to get into it.
What's that called again?
Killer Frequency.
Killer Frequency.
But I will definitely talk about it in the next Stepdad show because I will have finished it by then.
Didn't you also pre-order Pacific Drive?
I did. It hasn't come out yet.
That looks really interesting.
Yeah, the reviews have been really good for that. Yeah, that was a weird couple, like a month ago, like 3 weeks ago. I was just like, no, like this just looks too cool.
It does look cool. I read a review where the person was like, "Sorry, Magnum Opus and the horse from Red Dead Redemption, but I think I have a new favorite car in video games," and it was the station wagon. Yeah, it looks really fun. Very unique and a different kind of game.
Yeah. But all those have been pretty good. I did play Rollerdrome for a little bit. It's one of the free games available for the PlayStation right now on PS Plus. And it was fine. But I'm not really in that place to be doing... the co-op or PvP, like that kind of stuff. Like, I'm just like, eh.
You can play that single player.
The Rollerdrome? Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I think to really...
quote-unquote story.
But I think to really play it, you need to be doing like a PvP.
Okay.
I mean, to really get it. But that's also like, I am really interested in Helldivers 2, but I mean, right now they're having so many server issues that literally the CEO of the company came out saying, everyone should just wait. Like, don't buy this right now. Like, wait. But it's been getting some great reviews, and it looks really super fun.
Like, it's the one live service game that I did get into for a while was Destiny 2. Mm-hmm. And I had a lot of fun when I played that with our friend Terry.
Yeah.
And it's playing those games with your friends is fun because there is PvE stuff and there is, you can do raids and things. And Helldivers is all PvE. It looks kind of like a Starship Troopers type of bugs and robots type of thing. It looks fun.
It looks great. It looks gorgeous.
Got a good sense of humor.
I'm sure at some point, I mean, it's only $40 right now. I'm sure at some point it'll be cheaper.
Sure.
But it definitely seems like a very fun co-op game.
Yeah, it looks really good. Graphics look really good. Looks fun.
Yeah. What have you been playing?
Well, I finally started playing Control.
Yeah.
Got through that. Got kind of, I don't know, there's still ton of stuff. I mean, I guess finished the story.
Yeah, it's weird, man. Stuff pops up everywhere.
But it was such a unique and fun game. It really reminded me of the Kane Pixels kind of type of a backroom thing and just a weird story with, live action movies and puppet shows and just like the weirdest stuff.
The puppet shows are so weird.
There's this great like maze that you go through and this like music video that you watch. I mean, it's just like, it was surprising. Every turn has some weird wacko thing that just is so unique that I haven't seen in other games. Remedy games are fantastic,
just killing it. Yeah.
They make the say Max Payne, but the Alan Wake games.
Makes me really excited for Alan Wake 2.
Oh yeah, and replaying. I don't even know if I finished the first Alan Wake, so I'm really excited to play we got the free remake.
Yeah, the remaster. Yeah,
I'm excited to play that. But it took me a little bit to get into Control, but when I finally got into it, I couldn't stop. It was just so much fun.
Oh my god!
And
so
the powers and everything.
Yeah,
it's just very unique. If you can pick up the entire Ultimate Edition on PS5 for like $9.
Yeah,
it goes on sale all the time.
So worth it.
If you haven't played it, it is such a uniquely entertaining game.
I am glad I finally brought you into the fold.
Yes, and I am too, because it's just, I love quirky, weird stuff, and it's always fun to play something different, because a lot of AAA games are very similar. It's like fetch quests and this, and they all have the same damn thing. But everything about this game seemed extremely unique. And I really enjoyed it.
Such a pretty game. It's so pretty.
I also picked up on sale High on Life.
Oh yeah,
which is the Squanch Games. Right. I think Justin Roiland.
Yeah. Yep.
I loved it. I thought it was really fun. It wasn't very long. I'm playing I finished the main story. And now I'm playing the DLC, but I think I overwrote my save. So
oh, no.
Like all the stuff I wanted to kind of do after the story, I don't think I can do. But I mean, hell, I could play through it again in like 2 days.
Yeah.
It's just got a lot of really quirky, fun humor. It makes fun of video games, makes fun of itself.
Yeah.
It's basically you and a group of talking guns. You're a bounty hunter, and you go after these bounties. You're fighting this drug cartel that uses humans as drugs.
Right.
And it's just silly and fun. It's weird. You can there's a TV in your living room. You can sit down and watch full movies like Tammy and the T-Rex.
Yeah.
Or
there's like 5 or 6 of them apparently.
Yeah. And I think the DLC even has extra ones. There's
that's crazy.
Vampire Hookers.
Nice.
Just The Harvest is one. This is really bad movies. And then also, if you ever watched Rick and Morty, if you've ever seen the episodes of like the quantum TV shows.
Yeah.
They have a bunch of. I think there's like 30 hours.
Oh wow!
Of entertainment or something that most people, and it's not like you can access it
right
and watch it separately.
You have to be in game.
Whatever's on the TV at the time.
Wow, that's crazy.
Which is just really funny to me. And I started playing the DLC, which is really fun. And there's just, if you want like a quirky, weird, funny, kind of subversive game, it's not going to take a ton of your time. It's a decent platformer and a decent first-person shooter. It's great. I think you pick it up for $20 or something.
Yeah, I think it's 24 right now on sale.
Yeah, and an extra couple of bucks for the DLC, and it's definitely worth it. I had a blast, and I will play through it again at some point. But yeah, I totally recommend it, especially if you're a fan of like the Solar Opposites or Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
You're really gonna love it. And the thing too is, if you find the talking guns annoying, you can adjust the frequency of how much they talk. So you can take it to talking a lot, not talking very much, to not talking at all. If you don't find that humor funny, and you just want to kind of play through the game.
That's cool.
That was great. And then we just picked up Dead Island 2 on sale. And I picked that up. It's fun. I mean, again, it's another kind of on the rails, It's a gorgeous looking game. Sometimes it's like you're standing in the middle of Los Angeles. It's
God! There was a point I was like, watched you play some of it, and before I walked in, I thought you were watching a movie. It was like, what?
Yeah. And it's fun, and it's got the quirky humor, and it's gory as hell.
Yeah,
it's very simplistic. The combat's not going to win any awards.
I loved the first game. I actually played recently. I hadn't played it when it first came out.
And I think when it came out, a lot of people were very disappointed that it wasn't some giant open world Los Angeles.
Yeah.
But I'm enjoying, because High on Life is the same way. It's not on rails. There's open areas. Like with High on Life, you go to different planets. Each mission is a bounty, and you fight people, and same formula. And it's kind of like Dead Island, same thing. You go to the Bel Air Hotel, which is something else, to find the army, and then you end up fighting this giant bride zombie, which is hilarious. And I'm enjoying. I love giant sprawling 300-hour open world games too.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes it's refreshing to play something like High on Life that you can finish in 20 hours, 15 hours.
Right.
Or like this game where, you want to get the collectibles, you can, but it's not it's not that big a deal. And you can just kind of play through something and
right. And just
turn
enjoy
your brain off, and there's not too many like crazy puzzles or whatever. So
I definitely need that for the next game after Tsushima, because there was a point where I was like, oh, there's not much left, and then there's a whole third act I totally forgot about. It was like, nope, now I've got another 20, 30 hours to play.
It is a big game, and it's a great game, and that's something I want to replay.
But I'm going to need something small that I can just buzz through. And
I think it'll be
done.
Dead Island 2. I think it'll be that. It's not small, I don't think, but it's definitely. You do a couple of missions, turn it off.
I'm probably going to jump into Assassin's Creed Mirage.
There you go. Are you going to play the new permadeath?
No. No, that erases your save file.
That's crazy. So
that is nuts.
The funny thing is, we totally both forgot that we have this game.
You gave it to me for Christmas, and I forgot about it.
Totally forgot. But they have a new mode, which is if you die or commit crimes or leave the boundaries of the
area.
Yeah. It's permadeath. And not only permadeath, but they erase your save.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
People love challenges. I think it's cool. I'm not one of those guys. Like, I don't play the Souls-like games. I'm not looking for a 2-hour battle with a boss to prove that I have some sort of...
That you can do it, yeah.
Video games for me are just pure escapism.
I need them to be fun.
And life is challenging enough. You know? And not that I don't enjoy a challenge and I don't enjoy pushing my brain and stuff, but I'm more like with puzzles and that kind of thing. Right. And I don't shy away from a tough battle. There's some great battles in Witcher 3. There's some, really great stuff. But stuff where it's like, you got to block out an hour and a half to fight one dude. No. And if you die, you lose everything. And you got to start all over. I think, what did I play? There was something. Oh, okay. I want to just mention this really quick. I did play through the beta of Skull and Bones. Right. Which just came out. Which is this pirate game that Ubisoft has been working on for about 57 years, I think.
Yeah. Actually, since the last pirate actually left in the Caribbean in 1619.
500 years. So
yeah.
So it finally came out, and I was curious. I loved Black Flag, Assassin's Creed Black Flag. It's my favorite Assassin's Creed game because it's the pirate stuff and the ship battles and the pirate stuff was amazing in that game. So, wow, a game of that sounds great. It's not. It's a live service game. Ugh. It's one of those games, too, that if everybody's there because it's a live service game, you're not necessarily interacting with people, but they're just there enough to F with everything.
Right.
Like if you have to get resources, well, somebody's already got them, so you have to wait for it to respawn.
Yeah.
And it's just thin, man. There's no person-to-person combat. It's just this really dumbed-down ship combat. When you board a ship, it's just a cutscene. There are times when you walk around, but it's just, you're just walking around buying stuff or talking. It's just
get Assassin's Creed Black Flag and play that. It's so much better.
It's not a horrible game. It's got some great graphics and it has some some fun stuff. But I played for a while. I got up to the second tier ship, sunk, lost all my stuff, and was like, I'm done. I don't give an ass. And even if it came down to it's one of those games like the Marvel live service game,
the Avengers,
where maybe if it when it finally gets down to $1 because nobody wants to play it or buy it, I'll buy it and play through the story because it's
there is a story.
Kind of.
Okay. Yeah.
There's guys.
Wow, that right there, I don't think it's worth $1.
There's guys that tell you what to do. Go get this, and then I'll build you a ship, or go find. Bring me.
So fetch quests.
These, yes, exactly. And it's thin, and you can tell that they tried to fix the problems that people were bitching about. When it first was being made, there wasn't going to be any person.
Oh, just
third person. Ship. Yeah, it was all going to be ship stuff. And then people were like, ugh. So they just slapped on this really boring, walking around buying stuff, island crap.
So stupid.
Or you board a wreck and walk around and oh, there's that thing. It's just, and then there's some dude that runs right through you that grabs the same thing too. And because it's live service, people are all doing the same thing. Which takes you completely out of it.
Yeah, that I don't like live service games.
So I would say, nay.
Skip it.
Skip the pirate. Skip it. I did play a couple of minutes of the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth demo. Looks great. I haven't finished the other one, so I was like, why am I playing this?
That was another one I started playing, and I was like, nah.
I need to get through the first part.
Yeah.
I have tried to get through the first part of the Final Fantasy VII Remake. And I think once I get past that part, it'll be fun. But I've been stuck on this one battle, and it's the first big battle.
Yeah,
and I'm just
that's where I literally
was this hard for this, then I'm out.
I'm good.
But I love Final Fantasy games, so I'll give it a shot. And they've really done an amazing job reimagining these
Yeah,
games. Basically.
yeah. I mean, definitely, you're a fan of the series. You're going to love.
And
those.
part 2 is a lot more. There's a lot more fun story and interesting stuff.
Yeah.
And then there'll be a part 3,
Right?
To round it all out. But if you're a Final Fantasy fan, of course you're going to get that.
Yeah. All right. I think it's it.
Yeah.
I think that's all we got. It was a fun month. Excited. Definitely check these things out.
Yeah. Our number one super duper pick of the month is Bottoms.
Yeah.
Check that out for movies. I think our TV pick of the month would probably be Quantum
Leap. Yeah, definitely.
The new version. And then for me, I would say grab yourself High on Life on sale.
Yeah.
Or
And
Control.
Control. If you've not played it, it's so cheap.
Yeah. And Control is a dance game with a lot of content, and
so good.
You get all the DLCs and stuff for like $9.
Every time we talk about it, I want to start playing it again.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely going to try to finish it. I've got a bunch of different things to go, but there you go. Thanks for listening to our first loves.
So for that, because February is our first loves, next month we're going to do our haterade month.
Haterade, because you can't have love without hate, baby.
We each have 2 movies that we just absolutely despise.
Now, these are things that we hated when they came out. Now, for me, it was Explorers and Clerks. I know I'm in the minority on Clerks.
Explorers, I have not seen in 30-plus years. Clerks, I love Clerks, but we'll see.
Clerks,
I haven't watched it in a long time.
I see. Now, when I told you before about being in your 20s and hating everything, I was in the middle of, my beginnings of an independent film guy, and I saw Clerks, and I was like, this is just really bad acting in a 2-shot.
Yeah.
It's like the laziest movie ever. But I think watching it now with perspective, and also I am a fan of Kevin Smith. I like his work.
Yeah.
I love Dogma. And Dogma. No, I think he's very charming. I think he's a fun, lazy filmmaker. I think he himself would probably describe himself that way.
Yeah.
He's a messy filmmaker, but that's kind of what makes him fun. And I love people that have, like Stephen King, that have their whole everything is in its own universe.
Right.
Like Quentin Tarantino or him, everything kind of fits in that in the
Askew-universe.
Yeah. But. So I'm really curious to see that again because I hated it so much. And then what did you?
Number one is Highlander.
That can be only one.
Did not see that movie when it came out. I saw it about 10 years ago, and I think it's the stupidest movie ever.
I'm a Spaniard.
It's so dumb.
From Spain.
And then one of them that I actually really liked when it first came out in '86, but then watched it again 10 years later in college and realized how boring it was the Transformers, the movie.
Nice.
Which I'm actually working on the script right now. That was one of the reason I've been watching Plex stuff was because they have all of the original 4 seasons of the show.
Oh.
And the movie was to gap between season 2 and 3. It's so bad. They're so
Autobots.
bad.
Come get the Decepticons.
It's just amazing. Everything was just about selling toys, and that was it.
Autobots to the toy store.
It'll be fun to talk about. That's the nice thing about it is that all 4 of these movies will be fun to talk about.
Yeah, and let's see if we still hate this stuff, or maybe we've grown our hearts like the Grinch 3 sizes. Yeah. I think I'm probably going to enjoy Clerks.
Yeah,
I'm still going to hate Explorers. The reason why I hate Explorers is because it's 2/3 of a fun movie.
I know,
and the third act is so despicable. That
well, there's a reason for that.
And you'll find out next week.
Literally next week.
That's our first of our haterades. Anyway, have a great time. Get yourself some Bottoms and bibbity boop. What's his name? Sam Beckett.
Oh my God.
Derby Firschnid.
Derby Firschnid. Scott Bakula.
We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming, The Jeffersons, already in progress.